The evolution of humans is accompanied with n number of species, some intimate and some distant. The design of nature is meant so. More than 10,000 years ago, man learned that he could domesticate certain animals. He tamed the wolves and from them bred the dog, our first domestic animal. However, the human responsiveness has a great influence over the biological balance or imbalance. Humans took a great influence over the breeding of domestic animals. They are equally responsible to control the imbalance of the propagation. For better refinement, this film speaks about issues related about the dog, our best friend. Canis lupus is the science synonym of the wolf, which has a great history to dig. Dog shares a great generic relationship with wolves. Dogs have evolved their status from the wolves as recently as 15,000 or perhaps 1 lakh years ago. It's assumed that the man's relations with dogs began around 15,000 years or even more. These pictures of the Stone Age reveal the dog and man's partnership in hunting. This engraved rock of man's leg and dogs resembles today's greyhounds, an ancient paint representing man with scavenger dogs. Wolves are the members of the canines family, which also includes jackals, foxes, and African wild dogs. The canine's immediate ancestor, Leptocyon, lived 7 million years ago. Recent DNA studies reveal that a single genetic event took place in Asia. The majority of today's pedigree breeds are only 300 years old. There was more of human intervention in the breeding these 300 years. Other than the pedigree groups, there are some more group of dogs which did not have much of human intervention in the breeding. Their distribution took place in the following manner. In this Finnish Spitz, Siberian Laika, Toy Mexican, Perosian Pello, Basenji, and Dingo fortunately fall under the pedigree group. The rest, Carolina dog, Thai, and Indian Para dog, do not have any registered kennels. Indian homeless dog.
For decades, we have resorted to killing street dogs in order to control rabies and reduce stray animal population. But it has never worked. In fact, killing is even more dangerous because the vacuum created is quickly filled by new feral dogs. This is because our garbage feeds them and helps them breed. But remove the garbage and stray dogs move away. The Animal Welfare Board of India recommends all municipalities to sterilize local street dogs and have them vaccinated against rabies. This is not only the safest permanent solution to the stray dog problem, but it also helps create rabies-free zones. So please, have the dogs in your locality sterilized and vaccinated against rabies. Let's make India rabies-free.
The Indian homeless dog has had its origin from the Asian wolf. It is said that its origin is also intervened by the Finnish Spitz family, Australian dingo, and some more breeds. It has long been demoted to a degraded pose in the society. Slowly it is gaining some importance as a pet dog in recent past. These homeless are however very sturdy and strong dogs for our tropical conditions. They are very attentive and smart like any other pedigree dog. These scavenger dogs have had their existence in our country since 15,000 years. They live on the garbage. Some of these homeless are tamed by the poor society in rural and urban India. The main reasons of their existence are garbage and slums who keep their dogs wander unsupervised. The population of stray dogs in an area is directly proportionate to the populace and living conditions of the people. Our municipalities have been occupied in discharging stray dogs for many years. Our civic bodies have clearly imitated this mode of cleanup from the West, misconceiving the very Indian environment. It's proved fact that enforced killing of stray dogs is an utter failure. Around 2,50,000 stray dogs are killed in Mexico City's municipality pound each year, but the dog population remains same. On the island of Phuket in Thailand, most dogs disappeared after the tsunami in 2004, but in less than a year, the number returned to the pre-tsunami proportions. The vacuums are replaced very soon. The intensive breeding rate of dogs and the need for their survival destroys the real purpose of evacuation. As long as the garbage is openly exposed, the civic imposed discharge doesn't work. They can only provide impermanent and unstable relief. Rabies the foe.
By watching this very nice video on a terrible disease, you will be learning a lot about rabies. The disease rabies, which is transmitted by dogs, unfortunately, is a very bad disease which kills a lot of people every year. Unfortunately as well, India, the country in which we live, is one of the countries most affected by this terrible disease. However, everything is not bad. There is a way that we can prevent this disease. In fact, this disease we can prevent 100% if we can only do one thing, and that is make sure that our dogs are vaccinated. Not only the dogs that live with us in our houses, but also the dogs in our villages and communities in which we come in contact and with which our dogs come in contact need to be vaccinated. If you learn one thing about this disease, it is that it can be prevented, and what we must remember is the way that we act towards dogs is very important. Never go close to a dog that you don't know. Never go close to a dog that's aggressive. You will see in this video how to react to dogs, and there are some very nice presentations which some of you will get at your school teaching you how to act towards dogs, what to do and what not to do. One thing we do not want is for people to be scared of dogs. Dogs are our friends, and we should always remember that. It is the dogs that we do not know that we don't want to become in contact with. What we need to do is to make our communities, our parents, everyone that we come in contact with, aware that this disease can be prevented if only we would vaccinate our animals. The material on this video is very important and will be made available to a lot of schools right through India, so that everyone can learn about this very important disease and how to prevent it, and also not to be scared of dogs, but simply to treat them with the necessary respect.
Rabies is a virus found in the saliva of infected mammals. The first symptoms of rabies are usually non-specific and suggest involvement of the respiratory, gastrointestinal, and central nervous systems. In the acute stage, signs of hyperactivity or paralysis predominate. Signs and symptoms of furious rabies: excitability, vicious behavior or attacks, biting, agitation, restlessness, changes in the tone of the dog's bark, uncharacteristic aggressions, fearlessness, excessive salivation, so-called frothing at the mouth, aversion to water, inability to swallow or drink, dilated pupils, muscular dysfunction, coordination or gait irregularities, paralysis, convulsions, and eventually death almost within 10 days. The signs and symptoms of dumb rabies: avoidance of friends, lethargy, loss of appetite, howling, retreating into dark corners. In case of a dog bite, clean the wound immediately and thoroughly with liberal amounts of soap and water to remove saliva from the area. If the wound is not bleeding profusely, allow the wound to bleed. The wound should not be sutured, as this is thought to increase the risk of the virus entering your nerves. Once the wound is cleaned properly, use an antiseptic like Dettol or Savlon. Do not apply chili powder, turmeric powder, or any other home remedy to the wound. Do not delay. You may need treatment. Seek a medical care immediately. Try to find out if the animal was vaccinated. A conclusive checklist of do's and don'ts. Vaccination of stray dogs in and around your house is the best mode for controlling rabies. Get your pet vaccinated annually. Keep the vaccinated records organized and handy. Keep your pets under supervision with their movements restricted. Neuter your pet. A sterilized pet is a happy pet. Besides, there are hundreds of homeless animals, so why do you bring more into the world? Ask the veterinary or the municipal authorities to institute mandatory registration of all pet dogs. The best protection against rabies is for people to vaccinate their pets and stray dogs living near their homes, and for city authorities to conduct mass vaccination and sterilization campaigns for stray dogs. Plus, implement stringent pet registration requirements. Any dog, stray or pet not vaccinated with rabies vaccine is at risk of contracting rabies. Please don't breed or buy while homeless animals die.